In today's video, we're going to be talking about a topic that is super dear to my heart that I was pondering on this morning, and that is fairness in Unbound. More specifically, how people don't really want the game to be fair for everyone, they want the game to cater to them. Consider this a think piece video that covers what is being seen in the community versus a stated fact analysis video. At first, I was hesitant on making this video due to the similarities it might share with the recent video I dropped talking about the skill gap in Unbound, but I think this will take a slightly different path from that one. Let's dive into it, but before we get too far, y'all already know the deal. Make sure y'all are hitting that like button and dropping a sub on the channel. The path to 1,000 subs before the end of December is ongoing, and we are on some good pacing, so let's keep it up. The inspiration for this topic came from, of course, a Reddit comment where the user NoMasterpiece679 says, "Haven't touched the game in a year, and the reason I quit the online mode was because of the annoying morons who would just gap close you with way faster cars even though yours is already at the max tier. It's not fun to be treated as a plaything for experienced players. No wonder people just leave instead." Yes, the one thing that is going on in everyone's mind is correct. Yes, it is a skill issue. Yes, it is extreme cope. But there is so much more to unpack here. The first thing we're going to talk about is freedom of choice and the ability to do research before making a decision. If you choose to spend $1 million buying a Range Rover and raising it to S+, then by all means, go ahead and do it. Be happy with your decision. Go drive around. Go customize the car and make it have an 18+ anime girl rap on it. But what you cannot do is get mad that somebody who decided to buy a better car is destroying you. Out of all the available content on YouTube that is focused on great car builds in general, not just meta builds, you can only blame yourself for making a choice to not use them and instead do what you want. Nobody is telling you that you have to look on YouTube or try to find the best build for a car. But when you are making the conscious decision to do what you want, there can either be bad consequences or good consequences. Now, there is no way to tell what car Buddy decided to upgrade, but clearly it wasn't fast enough to compete with everyone else. You have two options at this point. You can either try again with another car, or you could keep at it with the same car. If you decide to keep that car, then you have decided to continue to lose. If you do not want to use the meta, then don't pick the meta. But don't complain either. What basis would your complaint even be on? That someone picked the meta or a faster car and you chose to not do it, so you lost? Nobody is going to break their back and lower their enjoyment of the game by picking another car just because you feel your car should be as fast as theirs. That screams entitlement. And I hate to break it to you, but Need for Speed Unbound was not created with you specifically in mind. Just because a car can be upgraded to the max tier means nothing, especially when the stats are readily available for each and every person on Unbound to see. There are cars that are clearly better in each tier, and a common mistake a lot of people make on the game is thinking that every car is somehow equal when there are multiple indicators in the game that is very far from the case. The next thing he states is that it is not fun to be treated as a plaything for more experienced players. So do you want experienced players to suddenly not be playing at their skill level simply because you feel they shouldn't? Should experienced players not be allowed to play against others simply because they decided to grind a game? Players are experienced because they have been playing the game and have learned the game. It is completely fair for a beginner to go against an experienced racer in their first game or their 100th game. How do you think the experienced player got their experience? Nobody in any racing game just started out being the best. They made a conscious decision to put time into the game, and where they are now is the product of that. People on this game have watched countless hours of film of others faster than them racing. They have practiced for hours doing one track over and over again, and have had many people way faster than them race against them to learn from someone better. If you don't want to do all that, then you can't get upset when you get beat by someone who was willing to do all of that. I recognize that everyone has their own things going on in life. People have school, they have families, they have other things besides hopping on the game all day, but it is your decision to prioritize those over spending more time on the game. That is not a bad thing at all, and I myself prioritize a lot of those things over sitting on the game. But that is me. That is a decision I choose to make. But getting angry over what another person has chosen to do in the time they have is pointless. There is no point in having players be separated in a public game. If Unbound had a ranked mode and racers were being paired up against higher ranking players, then I could see where an argument could be made, because when you play ranked, you are signing up to play those who have a similar skill level. However, in a public setting, when you decide to hop on PvP or a free roam lobby, you are agreeing to be put up against anyone that is on the game at the same time. Fairness in public lobbies is allowing everyone to play with everyone. Another thing that people just can't seem to grasp is the fact that all the greats you see in the world, regardless if it's in a video game or in real life, have gotten beat down by someone who was better than them at some point, and that made them strive to get better. I said in a recent video that one of the fastest ways to get faster is to race against faster people. That did not change in the span of 48 hours, and it still holds up in this video. When you race against faster people, you learn things that you may not have known how to do or how to properly do. But people cannot accept that they aren't the best, and people cannot let go of their egos. Everyone wants everyone else to be at their skill level, but they don't want to accept that they are slower and try to get to someone else's skill level. Wallowing in a pool of your own self-pity is not going to make you faster. To those who continue to make excuses instead of just getting better, ask yourself, why is it everyone else's fault but yours when you lose a race? Either put the time in to be great, or you could be looped in with everyone else. The other comment that sparked this video is by Fetsy, who said, honest question, how am I as a new player supposed to catch up to the experienced and fully upgraded players? I have not the slightest bit of a chance to keep up with meta cars, and I cannot unlock them either because there's not the correct playlist on at the moment. I just want the online trophies and that's it. This is the least fun multiplayer I've ever seen, and the 959 behind a paywall is arguably pay to win. Does anyone have an idea how I can get any chance at a win at all? The way you are supposed to catch up is by taking the same path everyone else did and putting the time in. It's like people are looking for a shortcut to being good immediately, and that just isn't the case. Players got fully upgraded by grinding races and getting money. There are no money packs that we can buy to get ahead. There are no part packs that we could buy to give us all the parts we need for cars. If you cannot keep up with a meta car, then use the meta car. Or become good enough where you can beat the meta car. You don't want to use the meta car because you want to be different? Or you can only use them when others pull them out? Then so be it. It's your game. But don't complain when you can't keep up. You want people to not use those cars just because you don't want to use them? Who are you to try and make it so that others cannot use what they want to use in the game they bought? Did you buy their game? Now, for those who can't get the meta cars like in the Reddit comment, then that's a whole other thing by itself. So there is no ridicule to something like that. That's just the system behind Unbound, to be honest. But saying that the multiplayer is not fun, why is the multiplayer not fun? Is it not fun because you're losing all the time? How long are you going to sit and not try to get better so that you can finally win? How long are you not going to do some research and try and figure out why people are so much faster than you? One thing I cannot stand is when people don't even try to help themselves before getting mad at others. There are so many tools and people that are willing to help anyone on the game get faster, and they just aren't being utilized. We have already talked about Unbound being pay to win, and I already have a video on it breaking it down. Long story short, it's not. People can say what they want to about that one, so we're not going to dive back into that. Now, I don't know the tone of how this video will sound to each person who watches it, but what I will say is that if you feel you have been called out, then that means something has stuck with you. Nobody will be mad at you for trying to get better, but people will be upset and annoyed when you try to drag them down to where you are. I always say things require time when trying to learn to be fast and Unbound, but you need to make that decision. Either spend some time or don't. But if you don't, which was your own decision, then stop complaining that the game isn't fair and that it should cater towards you. But how do you all feel about this think piece topic? Did I speak some facts, or did you feel it was a little too much? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.